When a single star ignites a cultural sky and changes the very definition of possibility. For Shen Yue, this was never merely a question of accolades. It was a question of destiny tested by fire, a question asked not only on stages around the world, but whispered in the hearts of those who saw in her rise the promise of something greater, a voice that bridges continents, a presence that commands attention not through noise, but through the purity of talent and truth. Right now, right before the next revelation, is your chance to stay connected. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss another powerful story, another shocking twist, or another unforgettable journey. In late 2025, at the storied crossroads of East and West known as the China-US Film Festival, a gathering that celebrates the power of cinema to transcend boundaries, Shen Yue stood under lights that had once seemed distant and almost unreachable. In that moment, she was not just an actress. She was the embodiment of a generation's yearning to tell its stories with authenticity, with strength, with emotional depth. This was the night she would be crowned Best Actress, a triumph heralded across borders and celebrated by fans and industry alike. The night she became not just beloved, but legendary. Shen Yue's path to that stage was neither simple nor swift. Born into the sprawling tapestry of Chinese cinema's new wave, she first captured hearts with performances that felt honest and alive. From early roles in beloved dramas to the breakout portrayal of He Jili, a character whose resilience mirrored her own, Shen Yue showed that her talent was not a flash in the pan but a steady blaze of artistic promise. The television phenomenon Six Sisters catapulted her into the limelight, earning her awards and recognition, including the Rising Star of the Year at the 21st Chinese American Film Festival, an early testament to her rising power on both sides of the Pacific. Yet even as Ms. Shen's star ascended, the skeptics whispered that television success may not always translate to cinematic gravity, that the world of film, especially on an international stage, demands something more, a depth of presence that can make silence resonate as loudly as words. It was the China-US Film Festival's Golden Angel Awards ceremony, a night dedicated not only to recognizing excellence in performance, but to fostering cultural exchange that proved her critics wrong in the most resounding manner. On that night, her name was announced as Best Actress, an honor reflecting not only technical skill but emotional truth that touched the jury, the audience, and the critics alike. To understand the impact of this moment, one must see it not simply as a trophy added to a mantle, but as the culmination of years of devotion to the craft. Shen Yue's artistry is rooted in empathy, a rare gift that allows her to carry the subtleties of human experience into the hearts of viewers. Each gesture, each pause, each moment of quiet intensity speaks to something universal. It is why her performances do not just entertain, they resonate. The China-US Film Festival itself has grown into one of the most eagerly anticipated cultural exchanges between cinematic communities of two global powerhouses. Filmmakers, actors, and visionaries gather there not merely to compete, but to dialogue, to co-create, to shape a future where stories know no borders. To win Best Actress at such a festival is to be declared an ambassador of emotion, a translator of feeling between worlds. In that light, Shen Yue's victory becomes emblematic of a new era, one in which voices once confined to regional spheres now echo worldwide. This achievement also adds to a broader tapestry of Chinese talent gaining international recognition in 2025. Across Europe, another Chinese actress, Dyshen Forever, secured the prestigious Volpi Cup for Best Actress at the Venice International Film Festival, a reminder that Chinese performers are increasingly compelling global audiences. These twin threads of accomplishment, one rooted in the trans-Pacific dialogue of the China-US Festival, the other on the storied shores of Italy's most venerable film event, illustrate how a new wave of artists are redefining what it means to act, to connect, to inspire. For Shen Yue, the Best Actress Award at the China-US Film Festival represents more than a milestone. It marks the fulfillment of a narrative arc in which ambition and artistry converge. Her career, until now defined by steady ascension, has leapt into a realm where her influence can shape not only the roles she chooses, but the stories the world chooses to hear. And so the question returns, now tempered by the weight of achievement. What does it mean when one voice becomes many, when one performance becomes a shared human experience echoed across oceans? For Shen Yue, it means this, that cinema is not merely watched, but felt. That when the lights fade and the curtain falls, what endures is not the applause, but the truth she brought forth. This is not the end of her journey. It is merely the beginning of a legacy that will be spoken of in halls and whispered in imaginations, a testament to what is possible when talent meets purpose under the brightest of lights. And as the applause thundered through the hall, something deeper than celebration unfolded. Because this victory was not only Shen Yue's. It belonged to every late night spent rehearsing lines in quiet rooms, every moment of self-doubt hidden behind a practiced smile, every risk taken when choosing roles that demanded vulnerability instead of safety. It belonged to the long road walked in silence before the world finally listened. When Shen Yue stepped forward to accept the award, the room did not see a girl who stumbled into fame. They saw a woman who had grown into her power. Her eyes carried the calm of someone who understood exactly what this moment meant. Not a destination, but a confirmation. A confirmation that her voice mattered, that her choices mattered, that her journey had weight. In that moment, history paused. Because standing at the intersection of Chinese storytelling and international cinema, Shen Yue represented something rare, a bridge. A living connection between cultures, emotions, and audiences separated by language, but united by feeling. The China-US Film Festival has always stood for this exchange, this belief that stories can travel further than politics, louder than borders. And now, Shen Yue's name was written into that mission. Her performance, praised for its restraint, emotional precision, and quiet power, reminded critics and fans alike that true acting does not shout. It listens. It breathes. It allows pain, hope, and love to exist without exaggeration. In a cinematic world often chasing spectacle, Shen Yue offered sincerity. And sincerity won. Outside the theater, the news spread like wildfire. Across social media, across fan communities, across continents, one phrase echoed again and again. Congratulations, Shen Yue. Pride surged not only among longtime supporters, but among casual viewers who suddenly realized they had been witnessing the rise of something extraordinary all along. This was not hype. This was earned. And then there was another name woven softly into the celebration. Dylan Wang. For years, fans had affectionately coined a word that blended their names into one, Dyshen. A symbol of on-screen chemistry, shared growth, and a bond that transcended scripted romance. Though this award belonged solely to Shen Yue, many could not help but reflect on the journey that began with two young actors navigating fame together. Where once they stood side by side as rising stars, now Shen Yue stood alone at the summit, and the world applauded her strength. Dyshen Forever was not a declaration of dependency. It was a declaration of legacy. Because true partnerships are not about standing in each other's shadows, but about cheering when one steps into the light. And this moment, this crown of Best Actress, proved that Shen Yue had become a force entirely her own. Industry insiders took note. Producers, directors, and international collaborators now speak her name with intention, with expectation, with curiosity. The doors opened by this award do not lead to just more roles, but to better ones, stories with depth, complexity, and global reach. Shen Yue is no longer just a star of popular dramas. She is a cinematic actress with international credibility. And perhaps the most powerful part of this victory lies not in what has already happened, but in what comes next. What kind of characters will she bring to life now that the world is watching more closely than ever? What stories will she choose to tell, knowing her performances can cross oceans and change perceptions? What new heights await a woman who has proven she can rise with grace, discipline, and heart? As the lights dimmed and the ceremony moved on, one truth lingered in the air. This was not a lucky night. This was a turning point. Shen Yu's Best Actress win at the China US Film Festival 2025 will be remembered as the moment she stepped fully into her era, an era defined not by noise, but by meaning, not by trends, but by timeless presence. And somewhere between applause and silence, between past and future, her story continues, stronger, deeper, and brighter than ever before. This is Shen Yue. This is her moment. And the world is only beginning to understand her power.